Listen, I keep seeing a lot of different posts. I've seen a few from credible sources, like if you call them credible, ESPN and Fox and these things. Josh Pate with lists of the best coaches in college football, and they some just a list, some videos where they talk about it, and give their reasons or their explanations. But I don't understand. Ryan Day is the best head coach in college football, and even maybe so, maybe even if he didn't win a championship, the one he just won, he would still have an argument, but it'd be hard to make. But now that he has the championship, he should talk. He should talk his talk. You know, like I think wins and losses count for judging a coach. That's probably the greatest judgment, wins and losses. You know, but also program building, culture. You the recruiting, uh, what type of players you put out, what type of men you raise. When you put all those type of things together, I'm not looking around and seeing a coach like that. Like at Ohio State, we always deal with so much talent that you're bound to have some egos and a couple partiers on the team or something. And, because when you got a team full of guys who was the number one guy at their high school, you know, you're going to run into a few kids who are the life of the party when you're dealing with kids like that. But Ryan Day, even at Ohio State, where no matter how good a coach was at raising good young men and all of that, because of the nature of Ohio State campus and boys being boys at 18, 19 years old, you always have trouble with boys a little bit. You could expect some type of little, flare up here or there. But Ryan Day has created a culture at Ohio State that I think is unmatched. To have this level of talent coming in and this type of variety of players from the West Coast, East Coast, Florida, Midwest, Texas, no matter where he gets these guys, he brings them together and they have a brotherhood. They look out for each other. And we've been not only free from trouble with the boys, but scandal free. Runs a clean program. He's putting NFL players out like crazy. And then when you talk about wins and losses, some people, the things they hold against Ryan Day is he he lost some big games and he has a bad record against Michigan. He's 1-4 against Michigan. But you wouldn't know that. Most people I see posted online, they say he's 0-4. I don't understand. He's 1-4 against Michigan. Which you got to think though, we didn't bring Ryan Day here to beat Michigan, even though we need to and we want to. We had them so in hand and beat them so many times, 14 out of 15 before they beat us these four in a row. We beat them 14 out of 15 times. Since that's just crazy. That is crazy. Like there was an 8 in a row streak in there, and a 6 streak. They're happy about 4, which they should be, because Michigan's not they're a big program, but they're not always at the top. They flutter around the middle for decades sometimes, and they pop up every 20, 25 years, and they try to do something real tough. And this time they did it, regardless of all the scandals and whatever. When they popped up this time, they done it. But we ride at the top. We stay up there. There's a big gap between Ohio State and Michigan, but they did beat us several times. So. It is what it is. But Ryan Day, so outside of that, Urban Meyer and Jim Tressel are Ohio boys, born and raised. Ryan Day is not. So I would expect a drop off in the rivalry effect of our coach. But he'll get it together. 2025 is the year where he can put all his eggs into the Michigan basket. Last year, everybody was like championship or bust because of the heartbreaks we've had over the last 5 or 6 years. So he put all of his eggs in that basket. He accomplished it. Now let's get dirty. Let's go get Michigan. Let's go up there and beat them in their house. It couldn't set up better. And I think Michigan's going to be good. This is not a shot at Michigan. Michigan can be 11-0 when we get there, or 10-0, or whatever. 11-0. That's cool, and they could be number one when we get there. I don't care. Ryan Day will put his eggs in the Michigan basket this year, and he'll do that. He'll take care of it. Like when he put his eggs in the Clemson basket. When he's like gets his back against the wall and okay, now it's Michigan or bust. Okay, so let's go get them. Last year should have been Michigan or bust, but we were so good and they were so not good. We kind of lost focus on them. And early in the season, we were like, yeah, we gonna get them. We got this great team. And they kind of faded off, and we was just thinking about championships and trying to get back to beat Oregon. We kind of lost sight of Michigan, and they got us. That hurt, but we all right. We got a championship. We'll get back to them next year. You know what I'm saying? But congrats on this run, Michigan. Real talk. Congrats. It made the rivalry spicy. It made it spicy. But look, Ryan Day's the best coach. He comes in, man. He's a quarterback whisperer. He gets Justin Fields, goes to Clemson in the playoffs, and really gets cheated out of a game. And I hate to do this. I hate to say this, but let's just say we lost a heartbreaker to Clemson in 2019. And without any complaining, I'm not going to talk about the refs or anything. The better team did not win that game. We lost a heartbreaker, and the better team did not win that game. But hats off to Clemson for winning. But we wanted our shot at LSU because LSU had a great team that year. But remember, we had the second best offense, Ohio State, and we had the first or second best defense. LSU had the number one offense, obviously. They were the only team over us in offense, but their defense wasn't close to ours. So we were going to do everything to them that our offense did to everybody. We were just going to go up and down the field. The question remains if LSU could have done that, So Ryan Day missed out on that opportunity, which would have thrust him immediately into the spotlight as one of the top 3 coaches in college. And then he comes back the next year, the COVID year, beats Clemson, beats the crap out of them. Same team. They both returned the same team. Like, we just had the better team both years. But that year, what happened to Ohio State in 2020 was we had 6 games canceled on us during the season, including the Michigan game. It's because they were running. And then we had a lot of restrictions where we weren't allowed to practice with each other, and they had to practice over iPads and watch video and try to train on their own. And then when we got to the championship, Alabama had played 13 or 14 games, and they were allowed to practice all year and do whatever. So leading up, we had 2 weeks to the championship. They don't let us practice together, and they hold out like 15 of our players for contact tracing or something for COVID. Our 2-star D lineman was probably the biggest hit to that, but a lot of guys couldn't play. We had no shot. So Ryan Day lost out on that one too. Then the Georgia game, where Marvin Harrison gets taken out of a game by what I think was targeting, well, whether it was or not, taken out of the game that we were obviously going to win, and gets that taken away from him. We were going to whoop TCU and win that championship. So then he gets it done this year. But some of the losses and the big game losses that they criticized him for were things he couldn't control. I thought he outcoached Kirby Smart when we played Georgia. Anybody who watched that game knows he ran circles around Kirby Smart that game. He outcoached. Well, no, he didn't outcoach Jim Harbaugh at the end of that. Jim Harbaugh did outcoach him because Jim Harbaugh went to great extents to win that. But I think he's the best coach in college football. He adjusts to the new wave of things, NIL, and all the rule changes. He adapts really fast, and he tries to do it without breaking any rules. If he does misstep, he reports it immediately, and it's always a very small infraction. Great coach, man. Just look at the men he's raising, and look what he produced. Look what he's turning Ohio State into. Like, we're loaded with superstars. There's the names from his era are going to be the greatest names of all time in Ohio State football. His running backs, J.K. Dobbins and Travion Henderson, and now Judkins, and now these boys coming, and the receivers, crazy. It's crazy. The names that are going to be remembered. But most of all, the quarterbacks. Ohio State never produced quarterbacks for the NFL. We were never able to consistently do that or get a guy to show up. But all of his quarterbacks at least go up there and show their face, and some of them are great. Some of them are good. But they're pros. He produces pro quarterbacks. So whenever you play against Ohio State, you're facing a pro quarterback. That's an advantage that we have with having Ryan Day. We have a pro quarterback on the field. Every coach is not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So you're always going to have something. Find something with Ryan Day. Like, the trenches have been lacking a little bit under his regiment, the offensive and defensive line. I think we've had subpar coaching during that time and recruiting from his assistant coaches, and that's his fault. He has to have the right people in place. With Larry Johnson, his recruiting has just been fading off. Like, we have 1 5-star out of about 19 guys, and we have like 8 or 9 3-stars in that group. That's not how it used to be here. You know, that Larry Johnson's he has to do better, and Ryan Day has to do something about it. Now, I believe that he has the right people in place for the offensive line now. Like, he hired the right guy. The recruiting took off. We did great in the portal. The O-line looks amazing this year. So if we can make a move on the D-line and up it, because Texas D-line is looks twice as nice as ours this year to me. And I like our starters. I like our starting D-line and a couple of the backup defensive ends. But that D tackle room, man, I don't know. It's bad. It's bad. And we have no superstar on the D-line anywhere. Not one superstar. No superstar unless Edric Houston or Kenyatta Jackson turns into a superstar this year. We have no superstar. Caden McDonald, I love him. He's my favorite D lineman on the team. So I like fat boys. You know what I'm saying? I like the big monster, big ugly up front. You know, I like that. So that's my boy. But Texas has 3 or 4 D linemen that are better than our than our best D lineman. And we don't even know who our best D lineman is. We don't know if it's McDonald, Houston, Jackson, Bo Atkinson, Caden Curry, Logan George. Who knows? I don't know. So, Ryan Day's the best coach in college. Period. No argument.